Hello, my people! Welcome to another episode of the Risky News. My name is Harlow, and today we are gonna go until everything relevant for this week in the risk community. Today is September 15th, 2024, and we're just gonna go into some details. And again, I would appreciate if you all just let me know what would you like to see from these segments in the future. So right now, let's go into it. Boom chakalaka! So, we are going to start this week with the Risky News Season 2 of the 2024 Free For All Tournament. This is the main risk tournament, and this tournament is sanctioned by SMG. So, we are entering into round 8. Round 8 has a different peculiarity because round 8 is going to be 3 different games, folks, which means that the top 48 people that has qualified so far into the tournament, they're going to be moving to round 8, and round 8 is going to be the best of 3 games. So that means that people have to play 3 People have to play 3 games, and from that, they're going to be moving on into the 9th round. And after that, I think there is 1 or 2 more rounds before the final. So, for round 8, all the games are going to be 70% dominations. You just have different rules for a few of them. So, let's go into the first one. For the first game of round 8, the map is going to be Skulls and Crossbones. The games, all of them are going to be 70%. Now, for this one, because it's progressive, and also this map doesn't have that many bonus that can really be taken, for this map, people, there is the modifier that you cannot hold a bonus. I think this is a good modifier because it forces people to play this game, this kind of progressive game, like a true progressive game. Progressive games are not meant to be bonus games. Usually whenever somebody goes for a bonus in a progressive game, it's because it's a big map where you have a lot of easy to take bonuses, and by the time that the trades are big enough, it is, you know, if you don't have bonuses, you're gonna be falling behind. That is like a Europe Advance or something like that. There is just a few maps where you can actually take a bonus and it makes sense. But for small maps like this one, Skulls and Crossbones and other maps, it is not worth it to take bonuses, and actually taking the bonuses is just gonna make this map spawn heavy. And I like it that you cannot hold a bonus until after somebody gets killed, because by then, by the time that somebody gets killed, the game is already progressed. The game is gonna be moved on. But anyway, having said that, for the first game, you don't have blizzards, you don't have fog of war. Actually, there is no fog of war in any of these 3 games. You are going to have unstable portals, and it's going to be prog the first game, and neutral bot for this one, which means that if somebody bots out or nobody's playing, that is not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. No bot is going to be hitting everything around. The second game is going to be Canada Advance. Again, 70% domination, but this one has blizzards, and it has unstable portals as well. And this game is going to be fixed with 60 seconds. And the last game is going to be Italy, 70% world domination too, and it's also going to be a fixed game. So of course, because they're fixed games, it does make sense for people to hold bonuses on those games, because that is the best way for you to actually progress the game. I like those modifications, as I said. Now, let's move on. So, for the first game, round 8, Skulls and Bones, that is how the map looks like. As you can see, the map is a little bit choky. As you can see, as you can see here, the map is a little bit choky. You have different points where you can only enter a position by a 1 or 2 places, and that means that if you want to get a kill, you may have to wait for portals to happen. That is why I think it's really good. Also, the good thing about not being able to take a bonus means that you're not going to be able to just take randomly external positions of people's just because you want to go for the bonus. Now, people are going to be more spread out, which means that it's going to be harder to take kills. So this is how the map looks like. If we go to the bonuses, and this is what we meant in this map, that is feasible. There is only 2, 3 bonuses that people can take. So if people are allowed to hold bonuses on this map, then that means that whoever has an awesome spawn in here or in here, they're gonna have a nice bonus. And even this one, though, is a little bit harder, but you have 3+2s that are fairly easy to hold, and then everybody else is just gonna be in the middle fighting for whatever else. And again, this is a small map, so I think it does make sense that they are not allowing people to hold bonuses. So that is the map. Those are the bonuses. The best locations on this map, if you ask me, again, if you know me, if you have followed me, you know that I love corners. So you want to have a strong position in the center. You want to have something in the center, few islands, so you can have access to get kills. But also in a defensive way, you would like to have a few positions in the corners if possible. That way, it's gonna be easier or harder for somebody to kill you. It's gonna be easier for you to avoid getting killed whenever you don't have a trade. So just go for the different corners. Try to be in the different corners as much as you can, and trying to make yourself as hard to kill as possible. The next map is, let's wait a second. For the second game, we have Canada. This is just Canada, it's not Canada Advanced. So as you can see, there is no Greenland, there is no Alaska, and there is not the northern portion of the US. So that means, folks, that this game is a little bit choky. Bear in mind the different connections, the different sea lanes that you have in here, because the connectivity can be a little bit tricky if you are not used to this map. So my best advice, of course, you have to take, and I'm gonna go into that, but the best thing, the key thing in this map is be careful with the connectivities, because territories that you think might connect, they might not, and other territories like this one, they do have like this is like a land lane, let's say. They have a connection all the way here to the bottom, so this territory is really good for whenever you want to run the 70%. Now, this is a small map, folks, which means that running the 70% is not gonna take that many territories. So and I'm gonna go to the keys later. So that is the game, and these are the bonuses. As you can see, this map is mostly even, so people taking 2-3 bonuses is not that great. I'm not expecting people to just hold one bonus, maybe two, if they have like the small bonuses like Yukon and Newfoundland and Labrador. That will depend about how the game progresses. But again, I wouldn't be expecting people to hold too many bonuses on this game. Only one, maybe two. It depends on the territories, and again, we're gonna go over that later on in the keys for this round. Now, the last game is Italy. It's a weird map. Of course, Italy is a weird place because you have that boot in the middle of the ocean, but also that boot is crucial. For example, you see this +3 territory right here. That is an OP territory because it's in the freaking center of the map, and it has so many attacking points. So if you control that territory, it's gonna be so easy for you to actually get kills. Now, this is fixed, which means that people have to go for bonuses, and this map doesn't have that many bonuses that are that easy to take. You can go for the for this +4 in southeastern France. This +5 can also be taken. One of the fairly easy bonuses for people to take is going to be this +2. And this +3 is complicated because you have this external territory that is harder to actually access. And of course, you have the Ottoman Greece, which you can also go for that one. But again, it is a little bit, it has so many territories that you actually have to wait for people to move out if they want to move out. Now, the most OP bonus in this game is going to be the Italian Peninsula. Every time that I have played this map, whoever holds the Italian Peninsula, they have an OP position. It's a +6. Again, you have a lot of big territories that can help you defend fairly easy. And once you have this one for a few turns, you're just gonna be too big. And again, it's a +6 by only controlling 4 territories. You know, you have this one that is a +4 where you actually have to control 5 people. So definitely the Italian Peninsula is gonna be the most OP, and it's one of the easiest bonus to take. So I will be expecting people to hold that bonus, and again, whoever holds that bonus, they're gonna have a clear-cut advantage into this game. At least in my experience, whenever I have played this map, that is what has happened. Whoever has the Italian Peninsula, they have an OP position, and they usually have a really good lane to win the game, whether it's caps or it is 70%. It really doesn't matter. Whoever holds the Italian Peninsula is going to have a huge advantage on this game. Now, the keys for each one of the maps. Now, for round number 8, that is going to be the first game in Skull and Crossbones. Remember, you cannot hold a bonus until after a player is eliminated. So, if you are a player that is attacking, be careful where you attack, because there is no incentive to break you. If you hold a bonus, even by mistake, if I was playing against you, I wouldn't break you. If you hold a bonus, that is your problem, because at the time that you have a bonus, that at the time that you have more than 3 or 4, if you have, depending on how many territories you control, you're out. So there is absolutely no incentive in breaking you if you hold a bonus. So the best thing that you can do is just don't do it. Don't try to be a smartass. Don't try to go for a bonus thinking that they might let you keep it or you might force people in to break you. That might not happen. If you hold a bonus, even by mistake, you are screwed. And again, if you are one of the other players that you're seeing somebody that took a bonus even by mistake, let them keep it. Because again, by the time that it is clear that they have a bonus, and there is no fog of war in here, so it's gonna be obvious that they have the bonus, they're automatically out. So it's a win-win situation for everybody else but that player. So if you are attacking, be careful, because in my practice games whenever I help practice for the for Las Vegas game, me trying to explore the map or trying to take different positions, I did ended up taking bonuses by mistake. And you do that just trying to move and you don't realize that you held the bonus. And again, it was just a practice game, it was just for fun, so people broke me so the game could move on in a more interactive way. But if this is an actual tournament game, there is no incentive for people to break you. So be careful whenever you are attacking, or be careful whenever you are just trying to split positions, because if you hold a bonus, you're gonna get screwed. Again, in this map, it's not that easy to hold a bonus, but again, even if you do it by mistake, you can be screwed. So just bear that in mind. The next thing that you have to consider is spread yourself out. This is a progressive game, so the more you are in different positions, the harder it is for people to kill you. So just make sure that you are in as many positions as you can. There is no zombies in here, so that means that killing you is not, your external positions are not going to be removed that easy. So you can add a 2, you can add a 3, you can just add to different positions as the game progresses. But make sure that you are in as many positions as you can be, because that can be the difference between moving on or getting eliminated. If you just one position that people remove because you didn't add anything there. So just bear that in mind. Next thing is line kills. If possible, try to line kills. If you see somebody that is having, if you have access to all of the positions of a player, then you can try to make sure that you're adding troops whenever you trade into the different positions, so you can go for the kill whenever you are actually going to, whenever it's possible. Whenever it's, again, this is progressive, so you should only kill people for their cards whenever you can trade, and you're not gonna be losing that many troops doing so. So bear that in mind. Line the kills. If you have access to all of the positions or most of the positions of another player, and you know that player usually doesn't manage well their cards, or usually they have my luck that they never have cards, just ensure that you add enough troops that you can just add a few extra troops and you can kill them for the cards whenever is possible. But that starts by you lining yourself up. And by lining, I mean adding troops that are closer to their positions, and add enough troops so whenever you trade, you have enough to have at least more than a 90% probability in the blitz roll. So just bear that in mind. The next thing is block 70% lanes, people. This map is choky. It has a lot of small points, so watch out for the portals, but also block 70%. There are territories that are choke points, there is only one way in, one way out, that people will have to go through that if they want to run the 70. Just add enough to block those positions, and that way it's going to be harder for people to actually run the 70. People will have to go to those choke points. So block the 70, and by blocking the 70, I mean those positions, but also the portals. You have to ensure that you can block the portals as well. And then lastly, line your 70% lanes. What do I mean by that, people? You have to keep counting about how many territories you can attack so you can get the 70%. So just ensure that you have a nice path and you're adding troops accordingly. You can add, by lining, what I mean is just adding enough troops that you can take that 70% run in a way where you can hit the territories with the least amount of troops. So that is what I mean by line your 70% lanes. And by the lane, of course, I mean the path that you're going to be taking to get the 70%. Now, that is the keys for the first game. For game number 2 and game number 3, both of them are about the same. The only difference is that one has blizzards, the other one doesn't. That is mostly like a math pathing anything than else. So the first thing, both of them, they're fixed, so you need to get a bonus. clear, and that's it. My recommendation: be patient, because I did one or two practice games on this map, and somebody got a bonus, but they didn't have absolutely anything to defend the bonus. So somebody else just took it from them. They just cleared that bonus for somebody else. If you don't think you're gonna have enough to get that bonus, take it easy. Take 2 turns to get the bonus. Just ensure that you have enough to take the bonus and protect it. And after that, what's the next thing? Sorry. Try getting a second bonus if it makes sense. Remember, this is a fixed game, folks. You have to keep the balance of the game. If you try to be as smart as, what's gonna happen is that people are gonna hit you, because you are not gonna be breaking the balance of the game. What is the balance of the game? The balance of the game is just the amount of troops that people are generating per turn. Everybody should be making about the same amount of troops, because if somebody's making way more than anybody else, that means that they're going to be able to bully people, and they're going to be able, of course, in this game, to run the 70% to their will. So people have to be making about the same amount of troops. How much is that quantity? That is up to you guys. If everybody has 2 bonuses, that means that everybody's going to be making between 9 and, well, 8, 9, 10 per turn. That may be feasible if everybody has a bonus. But if everybody has, sorry, that's if everybody has 2 bonuses. But if everybody has only 1 bonus, then probably 4, 5, 6 might be the actual number of troops that people might be generating per turn. Just ensure that you keep the balance of the game. Nobody should be making way more than everybody else, because if they do, they're just gonna dominate the game on their own. The next thing is line kills if possible. Of course, this is fixed, which means that unless it's early in the game, or somebody really had bad luck getting their bonuses, good chance that you're not going to be able to affordably kill anybody. Remember, whenever the troops gets too big, that means that even if you can kill somebody, you are going to be spending way too much just trying to get that. So you could try to line the kills, but if it's not early on, I wouldn't advise it. And it's 70%. You could, if somebody's being as smart as, and by smart as I mean, and I'll get there. By smart as I mean, if somebody tries to go for the 70%, and they keep going for the 70% and they keep pushing it, you have to either punish that person by breaking all of their bonuses, or they have to be eliminated, because they're gonna keep messing over and over again, because they're just trying to go for the 70% regardless. So usually when that happens, you just break them and you just bring them down to size, so so they have to reset and they have to take it easy, because you don't want people just randomly opening the 70% and hitting a lot of big stacks on the way by doing so. This is fixed. It's harder for people to actually get the 70%. It's harder for people to actually get enough troops to actually run the 70%. So if you have somebody that is just slamming people randomly, or at least they're doing that without a clear strategy, then usually they have to be brought down to size. The next thing is line your 70%. It's exactly the same thing as the other 2 games. You have to ensure that you have a clear path of how many troops do you need to actually, how many territories do you actually need to get the 70%. So running 70% is just a matter of, you don't need to actually protect all of your territories. And this is not for the players that are already qualified. This is the top 48. This player they probably have already a good plan of what they're going to be doing. This is for people that they would like to know how to play these kind of settings in the future. You need to be careful how you play these games. And if somebody has a good luck and they actually kill in the tournament, they actually moving on further more than they were expecting, then these are the keys for winning these kind of games in these kind of settings. Okay, so now moving on for the GG League. This is the first season of a league that our friend Leona, she made. I have loved the settings. I think it has been a really entertaining league, and so far the games, they don't stalemate, and for me that is the best thing ever. I have loved playing in the league. Sadly I missed last week's game because we were sick and it was a nightmare here, but I played on this in these weeks, and it was super fun. It was super fun. I still was a little bit sick, but again, it was super fun. I am loving what Leona did, and I am so happy that I'm playing this tournament. So for this week, again, Leona, she announces the settings and the game mode on Mondays. So, and I do this thing on Sundays. So I'm not gonna be able to actually bring out what are going to be all of the different variables in the settings, so I have to only go with the map. And if you want to know what are going to be the settings, just tune in tomorrow into her YouTube channel or her Twitch channel, and you're going to be able to know more about what's going to happen in the next round, that it will be round 8. Now, talking about that, let me remind you that all the games that Leona of this tournament, she is gonna be broadcasting them on her Twitch account. That is not Leona, and she is also broadcasting those games, and she's doing a great job. I have been able, I was able to broadcast one of them with her, and I had a nice time. I will try, depending on how my work goes, I will try to be in another one of those games maybe this week. In broadcasting if I can. But again, she has been doing an amazing job broadcasting those games. And again, if 20 UTC is too early for you or too late, whatever in the world you are, you don't have to worry, because she's uploading each one of these games into her YouTube channel, that is Strategy, where you can catch all of these games and also all of her games that she plays in the meta settings and other tournaments. So go ahead to Strategy and catch all of these games that she has been putting together for this tournament. It has been a really nice tournament so far, and I am looking forward for this week's Rook of Yggdrasil. I can expect a 70% game right there. Now, this is the map. This is Roots of Yggdrasil. As you can see, it's a choking map as well. You have different choke points. You have different choke points. So a 70% can be a little bit tricky, but it's completely doable. The map, it has different bonuses that can be taken. Again, if it's a fixed game, then there are different bonuses that can be taken. If it's a progressive game, then it has some choke points that can make it harder for people to get killed. So let's see tomorrow what is going to be the settings for this game. For that, it's going to be this week. Now, for the professional risk takers, we have the Hot Buns World Tour. In the Hot Buns World Tour, let me remind you all that all the games are broadcasted in the Professional Risk Takers Twitch channel. That is going to be Twitch TV Professional Risk Takers. And if you miss any of the games, they are uploaded into the Professional Risk Takers YouTube channel. And you can catch not only this tournament, but you can catch all of the tournaments that Professional Risk Taker has brought to you. And if you want more information, these people, Mitch and Crackle, they are doing a great job. They have their own webpage where you can have access to all of the information of professional risk takers, even if you want to be a member or not. They have different tiers, and that is a video that I'm planning on doing probably next week or in 2 weeks. But I want to talk more about professional risk takers and why I think it is a good initiative. I might do that in the next 2 weeks, and I don't wanna pressure myself for next week. But again, if you want to know more information about this tournament specifically, you can go to Professional Risk Takers /PRT events, and you can go to 24 HBIT, and you can watch all the information about this tournament. It is there, and it is convenient for anybody that just wants to know more about this tournament. Now, for this week, right now they're moving into the semifinals, and there are 2 games. The first game is going to be in Ottoman Empire Advanced. That is one of the newest-ish maps. And the second game is going to be in Archegos. Now, what I do like is that they had a tournament fairly recently that was called 70% reset, which means that if somebody runs the 70% and they go over 50% of the territories, the game is restarted and that person is eliminated, and everybody else just start the game again, and they just keep going. That means that if you're going to run the 70%, you actually have to ensure that you have enough to run it. And I like it because that avoids that weird reset where usually the next person in order, Johnny on the spot, that person actually gets the advantage because they were just there. They were the next person over. So I do like that initiative from Professional Risk Taker. To be honest, when I participated in the tournament, I was a little bit skeptic, but I played and I enjoyed, even though it took longer. But again, it removed that variable of just somebody winning the game because they were the next one in turn order. Or maybe they were like 1 or 2 positions further down, but they were barely hit, so they have their bonuses or they have their big stacks, and they were able to run the 70%. I like that because it removes that possibility of the game, or at least it decreases the instances of that happening. So that is going to be happening this week in the semifinals. Go ahead and watch it. Go to Professional Risk Takers, and you're going to be able to see when these games are going to be played. And of course, they have awesome broadcasters that are going to be able to provide you some commentary and information, so you guys are entertained and informed while the games happen. And the True Random Evolve Meta Settings, the TREM tournament, that is sponsored by World. That is another organization that they're trying to also help the game, trying to monetize the game in a different way. They are going now into the 4th round, and only the top 36 players are going to move on, which means that in the next 2 weeks, we're gonna move into the finals for this tournament. And this week, let me remind you all that all the games are broadcasted by Mr. Revolve TV on his Twitch channel. And if you miss any of the games, they're going to be uploaded into his YouTube channel at Mr. Revolve. And all the games, they are played in the meta settings. So you have Capital, Europe Advanced, Capital Conquest, with Blizzards, Fog of War, no portals. They're progressive games. Now, the capital is auto placement, which means that you have to let your time run out, and the bot is automatically going to be placed a cap somewhere, and that is how you do your game. And of course, it's also through random, that it adds a little bit of uncertainty into this game. And again, most of you already know how the Europe Advance works. This is just the meta settings, and you already know that this is a map that, even though it's progressive, you do need to hold bonuses, because the bonuses are big enough that by the time that the card trades catch up, if you haven't hold a bonus, you are done. There is no way to survive this map without taking a bonus. So it's like weird mixture between fixed and progressive. Upcoming tournament, folks. For the upcoming tournaments, again, we have in the main Risk server, we have the VIP Invitational Tournament, people. If you had that blue check mark, as you can see right there, I should do that. If you have the blue check mark, as you can see right there, you can sign up for this tournament. Now, it is invitational, which means that the fact that you have a blue checkmark and you sign up doesn't mean that you're going to be invited into play. But again, just being in there with all of those awesome players that they already have their verified checkmark, I think that is worth it enough just to be between those players. But if you get to play, that means that you're going to be playing with that quality of players. So that is also something good. Let me remind you all that this is for verified players only. The sign-ups are still open, so if you have your verified checkmark, go ahead and sign up. And if you don't worry. You have at about 1 month until October 23rd to try to get the blue checkmark. And conveniently, I have it here. What do you need if you wanna be verified? Well, the first thing is that your account has to be in good standing for the last 6 months. You shouldn't have been suspended or going into some shady things with your account. So if your account is in good standing, that is a really good starting point. Now, the next one is you can be an admin or a mod in the Discord server, but that is a lot of responsibility. You actually have to have some kind of contacts, and you have some kind of participation in the Risk server. That is doable, but again, that might not be everybody's cup of tea. So, but it's just a way if you're into that administrative thing, or you're trying to be a mod into servers and trying to be more involved in the community that way. That is an option for you. You can also be a VIP player, and I couldn't find what exactly is a VIP player, but you can still be a VIP player. I don't know. Something might qualify you as a VIP. That is a good question. I may ask what exactly means a VIP. But I have no idea. I will ask what exactly is a VIP player for somebody in the future, because maybe you can do that. Maybe you can be famous, and that way that can make you a VIP. But also you have the BCC, you have the video content creators that will also give you that. So if you are a content creator on YouTube, you need to have at least 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. If you are on Facebook Gaming, then you need to have at least 10 average views in your streams. If you are on Twitch, you need to also have about 10 average members. If you are on Twitter, if you just like to do these news kind of things on Twitter, or you just like to upload things into Twitter videos or stuff like that, you need to be verified on Twitter. If you are on Discord, there are different things that might qualify you. I may ask you, it would be good to ask somebody on the staff. They might know more information about that. But if you're on Discord, you need to be a top 100 player. That is the blue check mark that I was trying to chase. I still want to get there, don't get me wrong. But anyway, that is not here nor there. Or you have to be a Discord mod or something like that. And if you're on TikTok, then you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers. And that is, you can, if you have any one of these qualifications, then you just need to open a ticket and they will give you the verified checkmark after they confirm your data. Until they verify all the data that you provide. So those are the requirements that you may need if you want to get that blue checkmark on your profile. Now, moving on. Also, until today, there are the openings for the 2v2 tournaments. So if you want to try, if you want to practice, if you want to have fun with this kind of format, that is an alternative format when you play actually in a team with another player and you both are talking and communicating in BC, in the voice chat on Discord, then this is the next tournament for you. I got invitations. I decided to sit this one out because I have had some issues. I will talk about this later, but I decided to sit this one out. But I do enjoy 2v2. I do enjoy 2v2, and it's a really nice format of a tournament, and it has its own nuisance, and I like it. I just haven't had enough exposure to it. But the 2 or 3 times that I actually played these kind of settings, I enjoy them a lot. They were so fun, and you're just having fun with somebody else on the other side, and you just try to talk, and you just talk straight. I love the few times that I have played these settings. So you have until today to sign up. So again, if you don't have, if you're new to the Risk community, or you don't know that many people, and you are not sure, like, hey, what if I don't know anybody? Don't you worry about it, my friend, because if you don't have a team, don't worry, you sign up and they're gonna assign you a partner. There might be other people that they're just trying to play and they may not know how to play this. Hey, go ahead. You're gonna have fun, and the worst thing that can happen is that you get eliminated, but you're gonna have fun, and this is a game. We play for fun, and you learn, which means that you are gonna be competitive moving on. The more you play, the more competitive you are gonna be. So hey, go ahead, sign up and have some fun, folks. Also, upcoming tournament we have from Professional Risk Takers, we have the Capture the Flag tournament. That is my first tournament side collaboration with Professional Risk Takers, where people have the condition that they can control one territory for 2 turns, so they can actually win the game and have more points by doing so. This is an open tournament, so whoever wants to sign up, they are more than welcome to do so. And yeah, I think this is wrong. It's not until today. I think it's until next week. My bad. Yeah, I think you still have another week to sign up to this tournament. It's until the 23rd. I checked that early today and I didn't correct that here. So my apologies for that. Yeah, you have another week to sign up to this tournament. So go ahead and do so. It's a different kind of tournament, and it's also fun. We played and it was nice. And we just trying to make it a little bit entertaining in a different way. Just add another nuances for people to consider it what they're trying to just dominate the game in the normal way that is played. So those are the tournaments that are upcoming. If there is another one, I might check that and I will add that for next week. But at least these are the ones that I am aware that are upcoming. Also, let me remind you all that next week we are gonna have our first interview of this channel, and I am so excited. Let me remind you all that the interview is going to be with E.G. Sneaks. Sneaks, he is the current organizer of the FFA tournament, that tournament that is ongoing right now on its 8th week, and he took over from the Bull, and I just want to know more about his experience with the risk as a player, as an organizer, like what it takes to do all of that. And I just have those questions that I want to ask him, and I want to share that with you all. I can ask him one-on-one but I think this is something good that it would be good for people that are interested into making tournaments, or maybe they would like to take these responsibilities in the future. As the tournament grows, you can know more about how is it like on the other side? Because for us players, it's easier to criticize the settings or the tournament format or whatever rules. But it's good to know from the other side what is their perspective, how they do things, and how. So If you have any questions that you would like me to ask Sneaks, feel free to ask me. Add it right now here on Twitch, or feel free to add them on YouTube whenever I upload this video. Or you can look me up on Discord, and on Discord I will be able to add those questions into the list of questions that I already have. The interview is gonna be next week, folks, and that interview is gonna be at 1 UTC, which means that I'm either gonna be starting my broadcast later, or I might do a two-part. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but definitely the interview is gonna be at 1 UTC. For those of you that are in the US of A, the interview is gonna be at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to watch that, feel free to jump in. It's going to be at that time, and I'm going to be uploading that into my YouTube channel. So thank you so much there. Now, there is something else that I would like to talk about, guys. I was reading about I am active on Facebook in different groups, and people are asking a lot about what Risk is doing to address all the connectivity issues and address all of those kind of things that are happening with the network, that people get disconnected, or the bugs and whatever. And I read the bulletin that they did that was called Building a Better Risk, and I decided to add that here. I tried to interpret this as well as I could. I'm not a tech person, so I read and reread everything to ensure that I grasped what was going on and what they're trying to work on to fix this issue sometime next year. So that is why I added this into here. This is part of the bulletin that they wrote, like I think it was about a month ago or 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I'm just trying to make this into a more dynamic way so you guys can better understand what's going on and what they're doing to address that. Again, I don't work for them. I'm just trying to forward this information in a more visual way. So what they're doing right now is that right now the current version that we have of Risk is version 3. That means the whole server, everything from Risk that we have right now is version 3. They're gonna be moving into version number 4, and for that they're gonna be doing a few changes to ensure that the experience is better for us. And for that, you have to understand how the game currently works. The game, once upon a time, it was designed for a single player, which means that each player was going to play the game and they were just going to have fun between themselves. So as the game became more popular, they added more features like, playing with bots, or now you can just share with somebody else and you can play. But because this happened, that means that everything in the game happens in your phone. It happens in your app, or it happens on Steam. The app that you're playing, it has the game right there. It's like if you have like a CD, or maybe I just aged myself. It's like if you have the game actually in your possession, physically in your possession. Everything that happens in the game happens in your machine. So there is no problem when you are playing this by yourself or with people physically in your people, when you are actually sharing, passing your phone and everybody's playing in your phone, or maybe your computer, whenever it was once upon a time on Facebook, now it's on Steam. So that means that whenever the player send an information, something that they did, whatever happened, they attacked, they fortified, they killed, whatever happened, they send that information forward, but that information stays into that machine. It stays right there. Now, there is no problem when you're playing by yourself or people are playing with you, because again, everything is happening on your phone. Now, when they added the multiplayer, now you have different people from across the world and everybody's playing with you. And the thing is that you can either revamp the whole game, but that is something that you cannot do. It's not that easy when you're trying to grab that people, those players, that audience. So what they did is they keep the same format. They keep the same format where everybody has the game on their phone, but the information is shared with a DOM server. What is a DOM server? A DOM server is something that just get the information and just pass it along, which means that every time that a player plays, let's say that player number 1, they did their own thing, they did their move, they send the information to the DOM server, and then the DOM server update the information for everybody else. Which means that you have actually, if you're playing a 6-player game, that means that you have actually 6 different games happening at the same time. So that means that whenever a player does their moves, as you can see right there, that means that that player has to send the information to that DOM server, and then that DOM server is relaying the information to each one of those games. The best way to relate this is just imagine that instead of having your phone, you actually have the board in your living room. You're just telling people, oh yeah, I just attacked to this position, and everybody has to manually move. Everybody has to manually move the pieces to the position that you're saying that you're attacking or that you're moving or whatever you're fortifying. It's exactly the same thing, but with an app. So because of that, whenever a player is playing, they just need to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. You send information and you receive the information back. Now, it was a nice thing while the game was, fairly new, it was growing, and more people were joining. But right now, we are at a place where the game is competitive, it's really, really big, it's really, really famous, and this doesn't work anymore because you have people from all over the world that they're trying to play. The people have different internet connections. People have a lot of stuff. And I don't know if that happened to you, that you play, you have some connectivity issues. You play, you finish your turn, and then the game, after you do whatever, the game kicks you back with less time. You haven't even made an attack. It has happened to me that I have killed people 2 or 3 times just so the game kicked me back to when I started my turn. That happens because of this issue. In my phone or my computer, I already did the attack, but that information was never relayed to the dump server, and therefore it was never relayed to everybody else. That is the whole thing. Now, what they are doing as part of version number 4 is that they are going to change the dump server with they call it a P2P or client authoritative. That is just a word for a different thing. I don't know. I'm not techie. If somebody wants to know more about this, we can bring somebody that actually knows about this kind of thing. I just decided to add the name because they added. And again, if you want to know more about this, you can look that on your own. But the way that this is going to work now is that the logic is still going to be in your phone, because if you want to play with bots or you're going to play offline, you still can do it. But the moment that you play multiplayer, now you have a better server where you're going to be sending the information as you can do it, but then the server is just going to be updating everybody of what's going on. But now it's not the game, it's not their app that is updating everything. They're just getting the information, but the game is actually happening in the server. So everything is happening in there. It's, instead of having the board on your house, visualize it as there is a board in a place, and you are just telling people, hey, I want to attack Spain. Okay, then that person over there in that board, they're making your attack on Spain. And then they let everybody know, hey, he just attacked Spain. You see, it's a different in the way that it works, because now instead of you having 6 games that are being updated, you have only 1 game that is updated, and you're just letting everybody know what's going on. So that is kind of how the update is going to be working. People give the information, and the server is just going to let the people know what's going on. Now it's not 6 games that are being updated real time, or as real as you can be. It's actually 6 games. It's 6 people playing in a board somewhere in the world. In this case, it's going to be a server, but again, just visualize that. Instead of having 6 players with a physical board on their house, actually there is a board in, let's say, in SMG's headquarters. It is not. It's in the server room, wherever that is. But let's assume, for fun and annoyance, that the actual server is in the headquarters, wherever they are in Australia. So right now, there is going to be a board in Australia where you're just telling them, oh, I want to do this, and that is happening over there, which means that is supposed to decrease this whole connectivity issues. And that way, okay, that was not how it was meant to be, but whatever. That is how it happened. Whatever. But that is going to be about the nuances of the game. That is going to be what is going to be changing. And again, I just wanted to represent this in a more visual way, because it was described, and again, it was described well enough in the document, but the way that they did it was talking about the car, that you have a car and you have to take the pieces to make it work. And it does take the message across, but again, I just tried to put this in a more visually representative way, so it's easier for people to understand this, how things are going to be changing. Again, this is how I interpreted how it was going to happen. I guess if I did it wrong, somebody's going to correct me, and if somebody does, I will just make the correction next week or whenever somebody does correct me. But anyway, This is what I want you all to know, how things are going to be changing sometime next year. So people know that S&G, based on their bulletin, they're actually addressing what's going on with the connectivities and the server and the multiplayers right now. And with that, they are going to be able to add more into the game, and that is what we hope. Because the reason, for example, with broadcaster mode, let's say that there is a tournament and we want to do a broadcaster mode where we're going to be able to have like the information of what's going on. It cannot happen right now because you cannot tap into that dumb server. That dumb server only receives information and sends information, but the actual information, what's gonna happen, is still on your app. It's on your phone or it's on the computer. It is not in a server. One of the things that could happen, it hasn't been said yet, but for us that enjoy watching and broadcasting games, that means that if you have all the game happening in this server, centralized server, then that means that there can be like a broadcaster mode where you can actually watch that game without actually having to tap into somebody else's screen. And that is a huge advantage among connectivity issues and other stuff that might actually help speed up the game. So this is one of the things that they brought up, and I am excited for this to happen because this is gonna improve the game. And again, I'm trying to share this with you all because I want you all to have something to look forward next year. Not everybody reads the bulletins. I do because I am in the community and I do like to keep in track with the game that I'm actually playing, that I enjoy playing. So I read the bulletins whenever they send them, but not everybody does. And this is just a way for you guys to understand what they are working on. And I will be adding this into this new segment every time that they release a bulletin that has some kind of information that is relevant to whatever they're doing. I will be bringing that up just so you guys have that in a visual way. And that is it for this week. Oh yeah, I forgot to say. So the alpha phase, that is when they're actually gonna be trying this on their own, is gonna be by the end of this year, of 2024. So that means that we could be expecting the beta phase sometime, maybe in 2025, and that would be the best expectation ever. But again, they have a date where when they have to actually finish the alpha phase that they're gonna try on their own. Whenever they move to the beta phase, that means that they're gonna be bringing users to try and work on the server, so they can try to find some bugs and trying to make some improvements. That is the beta phase that actually happens later on, and they're gonna be hitting the feedback of the user. But again, whenever that happens, they are gonna be letting us know. But this is something fun to look forward next year. So they're working on it, people. We just need to keep having fun and be patient. And that's it, folks. That's it for this week. Let me remind you all that we are gonna be doing that interview next week, so I hope to see you all there. And with that, for my YouTube friends, Harlow says bye bye.